Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is the second day of the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge. I keep forgetting the maker of this challenge, but I'll link it in the description box below. So I'm new to the tarot community. Thank you for the people who watched my first video. It's interesting to see how hashtags really work. So to get straight to the topic, day 2 subject is the 5 top tarot decks from my top 5 tarot decks from 2019. Now, I have, I think, 13 decks, 13 tarot decks. And I've been studying tarot for 5 years. Yeah, since 2015. Yeah, so for 5 years. And I think the first 2 years I only studied the Thoth deck. And so it has only been like the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years that I have been buying other decks. And also I'm very selective. I like to really connect with the decks. And but I was talking about this yesterday in the comment section with another person who was also doing this challenge, something with amethyst in her name, I think. And it was about the goodies, and she had this whole list of new decks that she had received in 1 month. And I asked her, like, how do you find the time to connect with them? And so, but she is much more active, also doing lives and everything. So I kind of understand, but still, And then I thought about how I also like it when you have a new deck and you do a spread with a deck that you don't know yet. There's this surprise effect that comes with it, and it's in that way you can work better with your intuition in comparison to when you work with a deck that you really truly know very well. I think then you might tend to keep saying this similar things. Not that it's that you always say the same thing, because we keep exploring new things in tarot. I think that might be one of the biggest reasons why we all love tarot, don't we? Okay, so so that I don't have that many decks in comparison to a lot of you, and I was like, okay, top 5 of 2019. So, and then you can choose what are the top 5 decks that I used in 2019 or the top 5 decks that I bought. But I checked it, and I think that I actually bought 5 decks in 2019. And so I figured I'll just show you guys those in no particular order. Let me start with the Dali Tarot. And it goes with a very nice book. I'm a visual artist myself, so I'm looking forward to, I think day 16 is about painting a tarot card, so I will show you some art of me then. Dali, I think it's a special edition. It came with a very nice velour, wine-colored velour box, and this is the book, and this is the deck. I selected some sort of favorite cards for you to see, and I like the feel of it, and also the design. It has this gold, and and the imagery is I think a nice combination between traditional tarot but at the same time some cards are completely different. It's very eclectic because he also used art from other artists. Here, this is, he put himself as the magician, and I love the contrast in these colors. I tend to use red and blue a lot in my art. It's also funny that he puts himself as the magician. Yeah, you see, it's very eclectic, collage type of work. He paints, it's collage, and then he paints on it. I really like how he made the swords. And yeah, I love to read with this. I can read this pretty good. Not all the cards, but most of the cards. Look, there's Busted with the High Priestess. Yeah, this deck is one of the decks that gives me a familiar feeling, like, oh yeah, but at the same time also give me new insights very clearly. Very nice. So it was really nice deck to explore and to find new layers and meanings to the tarot. The Dali deck. And next deck is the Haindl Tarot. I don't have a book for it. I was thinking about buying one because I'd like to know more, obviously, about the cards, and especially the minor arcana, because I find it a bit difficult to read. And the major arcana I really like because it portrays 4 cultures. So all the colors, all the suits are linked to, well, the court cards are linked to a specific culture. And yeah, you will see it when I go through. Oh yeah, here, this is the East, I think. Yeah, East. It's the Hindu Indian culture. And again, it's a very artistic deck that speaks to the artist in me. And the major arcana, you can truly find so many layers, and it's really nice to read. Here, this is the West. Oh, the West. Native American culture, which I don't know much about. So I found it nice to, through this deck, learn more about this culture. But the little booklet doesn't give me a lot of information. So when I, for example, pull this card, I start to Google what the meaning is, and then that's a whole nother journey, because when I start to Google things, I go from this to that to that to this. Very nice sun card. Let me see if I can adjust. Yeah. Venus. The North. Very nice Ian card, I find. Very, like the atmosphere, it's like I can smell the rain, and I can feel the wind, the wind that tells you there's new dawn, In the south, the south, you see Egyptian, Kemetic, Osiris, Osset, Osar, Herman, Hierophant. Sorry, I see it in the mirror. So these cards really speak. They really speak to me. Odin, and I love I love living in an eclectic way. I love to explore you know, all the ancient cultures, and um, that's something that is, yeah, with me for as long as I can remember. Tower, Empress, Isis, what's that? Is the Hermit, Nut. Oh yeah, and then the minor arcana. I find it, not all the cards, but some of them I can't really find the logic behind the image. Yeah, I don't like too pippish cards. I picked some that I've find interesting, but most of them I'm like looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I can't. You know, I want to find links, but it also is interesting for me to learn more about just the numerology in correspondence to the suits. So, third deck is the Chinese tarot deck. Oh yeah, let me find. Do I have it here? No. I don't know where the box is, but the box has an image on it with colors with yellow, orange, and blue, and it just struck to me. And I don't have a lot of affinity with Chinese culture. Yeah, kind of neutral feeling to it. But last summer, I think, or spring, suddenly the image of the packet, let me find it quickly, because I have all the boxes here, I think. No, it wasn't the box. Where is that card? I want to find it. No, this takes too long. Yeah, I have it. This card just spoke to me, the contrast, and also, oh yeah, I remember I wanted a deck that has a summery feel to it. And so the orange sun in this color with the yellow and the crane, I think in English you say cranes, and blue, yeah, just give me a feeling like, oh, it's a new world to explore, and summery vibes, like the feeling that you have on a hot summer evening when you can sit outside with bare feet on a breeze. Well, anyway, and it was nice to explore a new deck and a new, to me, new culture. Very nice backing. I modified it this week, actually. It had white borders all around, and I also modified another deck, and since then I just prefer to shuffle it. Most of you do. I think it's the biggest reason most of us do it, besides that it reads better. But the major arcana has a white top, the minor arcana doesn't, so it's not, yeah, I prefer cards like this, because it's all color, so that is oh yeah, and I edged it in red. And I also selected some that I found interesting. I've been studying it last week again because I haven't worked with it that much yet. I have a little bit of a hard time reading it. Not all the cards. Again, especially the minors. Like for example, this speaks for itself, you know, but oh, this card gave me an interesting message a couple of months ago. Yeah, they're very different, and I picked cards that I read easily, but there are also cards of which I cannot really find a traditional meaning, but it doesn't give me a new insight or a new message right away. Maybe it is because I'm not familiar with the Chinese culture that much. So maybe when I spend time doing research, I just want to know what the artist made, why the artist chose to make a particular card. There has to be some sort of meaning behind it, I think. Yeah, obviously, I mean, that's what tarot is. This is really nice. Again, red and blue. This is also a nice card. You see, for example, this one, this is easy to read. But this is, you see, this is very different. Like, instead of being fully attacked or ruined, this is actually mastering, like protecting yourself, like when you're being attacked. I love it. Yeah, and also this green reminds me of when I first bought it. One of my favorite herbal teas is the Chinese 5-flower tea. And this, when I started using this deck after I received it last summer, I made me a nice pot of the Chinese 5-flower tea, and I put on ancient Chinese music, and I was feeding all my senses to get into it. And this green gives me that feeling. The colors, I love the colors in the deck. Nice Queen of Cups. Okay, on to the next. Pardon me. Yeah, I had 3. Let's see. Yeah, the Yeager Tarot of Meditation. I cannot remember how I found this deck. I have no idea. I mean, I know I bought it online, but I can't remember where I saw it. It's very unusual deck. I think most people don't know it. I think it's from the 70s. Yeah. This version is from 1982, but originally it's from 1975. And I found out that this edition was edited, and the edit was about that, like at least 80%, maybe 90% of nudity was changed, so covered up. And yeah, very, very interesting feel. I'm not interested in the most commercial tarot decks. You wouldn't see me using, let's say, a Moonchild or a, what are all the names of all these decks you guys use? So many decks, I'm like, doesn't really, no, it doesn't, no. Like, I don't listen to Beyonce. Yeah. And also, I love older times. I was born in 1987. And so I am this generation between the generations. Like, I'm part of the last generation that knows what it feels to live without the internet. Who knows what it is to actually develop photos and having to wait until you have the photos, to record a tape, record the radio on a tape and all that stuff.